I'm gonna give you 4 methods to kill ick fast. These methods have helped me treat tens if not hundreds of fish, and I'm gonna share everything you need to know. So first off, we need to make sure that what we're fighting against is actually ick. Now, ick is a parasite that's kind of like chickenpox but on fish. There are these white dots like grains of sand that are randomly scattered across the fish's body, fins, and gills. Now, every single spot you can see is a parasite that is ready to reproduce. If you happen to find fish that have ick in your fish tank, it usually means that it has already spread to other fish, because that thing spreads like wildfire. You can't control it, it just spreads super quickly. Some of the symptoms can include letharginess, they might swim in place, wiggle their bodies around, maybe scratching themselves against the surface, and sluggishness. And there's always the white dots. What causes ick? So ick is mainly caused by a temperature drop. You rarely see fish that have ick in the summer because of the high temperatures, but the main cause is from low temperature, from high temperature drops, but it could also be from stress, which I will talk about later. Alright, enough of that, now we're going to get into how to actually kill ick. Without further ado, let's get started. So the first method is the simplest one, and it's also the most effective one, which is to raise the temperature. At first thought, this might sound a bit silly, but ick is actually a cold water parasite, and it can't survive once the temperature reaches a high point. I would recommend turning the temperature over 84 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's not compatible for your fish, then just turn it up the highest that they could go, because usually tropical fish aren't that sensitive to temperatures. Most fish like guppies, endlers, swordtails, neon tetras, they could go up to 84, 85 degrees no problem. At the very least, turn the temperature over 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep it that way until the ick disappears, because as long as the temperature is 80 degrees and above, the ick will naturally be killed, and in my experience, this is the most effective method of treating ick. There's no special thing involved, it only involves turning up the temperature, doesn't really harm your fish. So raising the temperature over 80 degrees is a perfect method of killing the ick, and with me, it's worked every single time. Method number 2 is to use medication. Now with medicine, there's a lot of different types. There's IckX, IckGuard, Seachem Paragard, lots of different medicine out there that will help get the ick off the fish, and these medicine work when the ick is free swimming. So the ick that is on the fish's body will replicate, and once they replicate, they will swim in the water looking for a new host. That's when the medication kicks in. You basically dose it according to the instructions, and make sure to follow the instructions carefully, step by step. The important thing to know is to never overdose. You can underdose, but never overdose, because that could be super deadly in some cases. But yeah, make sure to follow the directions. There's also a lot of YouTube tutorials online. When medicating the fish, make sure to feed plenty of food, give them plenty of nutrients so that their bodies stay strong. Method number 3 is also a very natural method, and that's to use garlic cloves. This is actually a very little known method. I have tried it and it works out fantastic. Basically what you do is you get a garlic clove or 2, crush it. Garlic is great for killing parasites, not only ick but also fin rot and fungus infections. Garlic helps boost the fish's immune system and prevents them from getting diseases. It's not going to harm your aquarium plants, and it's a perfectly natural remedy. The most efficient method is to crush the garlic so that all the juice comes out, and mix it with fish food in a small cup. That way the fish will directly consume it. And that's just because some fish are stubborn and don't like the taste. As for the amount, I would recommend 1 garlic clove for every 10 gallons of water. During this period of time, it's important to not change any of the water, because you want that garlic in your fish tank for as long as possible. Once you see some signs of recovery, that's when you could do a water change, because it's probably going to stink a bit in there. The final method is to use aquarium salt. This is the method you can't use if you have a planted aquarium, unless the plants are hardy and are salt resistant, which you will need to find out online. If not, then you could get them into a breeder box or a separate quarantine tank. Now we're going to be talking about a different type of ick that is different from everything that I mentioned previously. And this is called stress ick. Basically, it comes from stress. And yes, stress in your fish can cause a weak immune system, which can make them prone to diseases. So how do you treat this? The only treatment is keep the water quality good, feed well, and remove the source of stress. The good news is that this is not contagious and will not spread. A lot of the times it's because you just got the new fish and they aren't very familiar with their environment around them, and that's usually okay. It takes them a few days to adjust, and after that the ick's gonna go away. Another common cause is fish aggression. If your fish is constantly being picked at or bullied, that might cause stress. Another possible cause is that there is something in the tank that is bothering them. For instance, Girl Talks Fish once made a video where she treated her dwarf gourami, and she found out the reflection in the glass was actually causing the stress, and once she removed it, it got a lot better. Now I'm gonna give you some methods to prevent ick in your aquarium. So the most easiest method is to quarantine the new fish. When you buy new fish, either online or from stores, make sure to quarantine them in a separate tank. If you don't have a separate tank, then make sure you buy healthy fish, check the tank for illnesses, not just the fish you're buying, but also the tank that they were kept in, because a lot of the times the ick is there but you just can't see it. And when you bring them home, that's when they start to show up. It's also important to keep the water quality high and minimize sources of stress, and as always, a heater should be present in your tank. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe down below. Feel free to join our fish keeping Discord server if you need more help. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.